Hello everybody, this again is FIDE Master Dalton Perrine from chessuniversity.com, and we're doing another video here in the Tactics Time video series today for you guys. So in this video series, I'm going to be working on solving different tactics trainer positions here on chess.com once again. With each position, I'm going to first of all show you the tactic, then I'll give you the chance to pause the video so you can work on solving it yourself, and then I'm going to be explaining my thought process and showing the answer to the different puzzles that we look at today. So without any more waiting, it is time for some tactics here. Let's see what we're given. Okay, so in this position here, white has just made the move rook to d7. Go ahead and pause the video and think about what you would do if you were in black's shoes right now. It is black's move at the moment. Okay, so it's black's move in this position here. Rook to d7 obviously attacks our queen right now. So we either need to have some kind of bigger counterattack, some kind of a big forcing move here, or we need to somehow defend against this threat. So the next problem here is, well, looking at any forcing moves we have no good checks. Knight h3 check, white's just going to take it back, and I don't see a follow-up. Knight e2, obviously the queen just takes it. So I don't really see any bigger threats, I don't see anything special like that. So we need to figure out how to deal with this attack on our queen. Well, if we simply move the queen away, if we go to f6 or f8, it looks like white's just going to take on f7 with the bishop, and we're going to be losing a bunch of material. That's not going to be very good for black here. What we can do, though, is notice a couple of lineups here. This knight on e5 is kind of in an intersection of a couple different things. The bishop on g7 is cutting through the knight to the undefended bishop on b2, and the knight is also in the way from us attacking the queen on e1. So the way to solve this situation is simply to take advantage of the knight being pinned. We can actually just go ahead and take the rook, it looks like. If we take the rook, the knight will take back. We take the queen on e1, white takes back. And that would essentially be an even trade. We got a rook, white got a queen, we got a queen, white got a rook. So both sides would trade a queen and a rook for each other. But at the end of that, we also still have the bishop attacking the b2, our bishop on g7 attacking the b2 bishop. So we could take that bishop and we'd be up a piece there. So it looks like we're just going to go ahead and capture the rook. White takes back. Take the queen. White takes back. And then here at the end of this, we're going to take on b2. And the puzzle is solved here. We're up a piece. Black has 4 minor pieces to white's 3. I guess white could pick up the pawn on c5, but we're still going to be up, quite a bit of material there with our extra piece in this position. Okay, let's move on to our next position. All right, white has just played the move a takes b4. He took our bishop. Go ahead and pause the video. It is black's move at this position. Go ahead and pause the video and see what you can come up with for black here. Okay, so in this position here, we're down a piece at the moment, which isn't very good. However, this is a situation where we want to just, for these tactics, we're always looking at forcing moves. Checks, then captures, then threats. In this position, we have 2 different checks. We can either take the knight on f3, and white will take back with his knight probably. Or if we simply look at the other check that's available, we have knight to d3 check, and it's not actually possible for white to capture the knight due to the pin. The queen is going to be pinning the e-pawn in that position. So simply by looking at your forcing moves in this one, just looking at the different checks, we can actually see that we have a nice little smothered mate with knight to d3 here. So knight to d3 checkmate is the answer to the puzzle. White can't move his king, he can't take the knight due to the pin, and we simply get a checkmate here. Now this position does come from a opening trap. Black here had played the Budapest gambit. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that opening, but this opening trap does come from the Budapest gambit. White plays d4, black plays knight f6, white plays c4, black plays e5. That's the Budapest gambit, and eventually this position was reached. This is kind of a common trap idea in this opening, and usually white won't fall for it, but in this case it looks like white has. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our next puzzle. All right, so in this position here, it is white's move. Black has just made the move pawn up to f5, and it's white's move here to figure out what's going on. Go ahead and pause the video, see what you can come up with for white here, and then we'll talk about the answer in just a moment. Okay, so in this position here, black pretty much had to make the move f5. If we, take a step back when the pawn was on f6, black pretty much can't move his king. He was in check, so he had to move the pawn up to f5. So the king can't move right now, which tends to lend me, or tends to make me want to think about different kind of attacking or forcing move ideas here. Now, with our forcing moves, we always want to look at our checks first, then our captures, then our threats. There's two different checks available in this position. We can do rook to g7 check, which white will just capture the rook and the king gets to escape, so I don't think that's the answer. We also have queen takes f5 check, and it looks like the bishop will take there, which doesn't look good on the surface, but if we look one extra move ahead, if we take the pawn on f5, bishop is going to take. Our bishop on d7 is actually coming back diagonally to kind of x-ray through this bishop to hit the pawn on f5. So queen takes f5, bishop takes f5, or bishop takes back on f5, and it actually ends up that black's in a checkmate because black can't move the king to the g file, and there's no h file squares to move to. So the answer here is pretty straightforward. We take on f5, the bishop takes, we take back with check, or I'm sorry, we take back with checkmate, and black is done for at this point. So these past two positions have mainly just been coming down to looking for our forcing moves. Again, it really highlights the power of simply, looking for them. In these two positions, we simply look for different checks, and it ended up being checkmate in both of them. The first one was a little easier because it was mate in 1, but this one is mate in 2, so you needed to look that one extra move further here. Anyways, so in these couple of problems, we focused on forcing moves, of course, simply looking for our checks, which lead to checkmate in some positions, and trying to figure out the best move in each of these positions here. So that's it for the video here. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully I will see you around in another video for chessuniversity.com. That's it for me here, and I will see you guys around in the future.